This is activity 52, and these quotations I used to put at the beginning of the book, but I'm not sure anybody read them, so I'm putting them in an activity itself. I have a couple of reasons why I want to put these here. One of them is that as I listen to my students and hear some of the things they're learning in history class, some of which may be true, some of which I think may be somewhat distorted. It seems like one of the, I may be wrong, but it seems like one of the purposes of the teachers is to get students to hate the United States and despise it, and sort of there's an exaggeration of everything wrong or a distortion of everything wrong the United States has done or allegedly done, and minimizing any good about the United States. And so I'm concerned about that, because Montesquieu says that a government is like everything else. To preserve it, we must love it. And if people are damaging the love that people have for the United States, it won't be preserved. And I've tried to establish a few things about the American system of government that is, I think, worth preserving. And so I want to emphasize some things that I think are worth loving and admiring and appreciating about the United States. Another reason I put some of these quotations here have to do with just kind of seeing what kind of people the early Americans were. That's true of letter A, where Edmund Burke, who was a member of Parliament in Great Britain at the time of the Revolution, is emphasizing that a love of freedom is the predominating feature which marks and establishes the character of Americans, and that the Americans of that time thought that the only advantage worth living for was liberty. And I think that's why they established the kind of system that they did. I wonder nowadays if we still have that love of liberty, or if we care about something else more than liberty. Letter B is Joseph Story, Supreme Court Justice in the early 1800s, a commentator on the United States Constitution, wants to, when he thinks about what he wants American youth to focus on when it comes to the United States, he wants them to focus on the fact that they have a noble inheritance, and that noble inheritance is liberty in all the meanings that we've studied it, and that liberty was bought by toils and sufferings and blood. And it goes into more detail. It's the peaceful enjoyment of liberty, property, religion, and independence. These are kind of rare and precious things in the history of the world, and so he wants Americans to appreciate that, especially young Americans, and to preserve it for their posterity and descendants. So letter C, again, Lincoln, as he, in the mid-1800s, focused on the meaning of the United States. He focuses on the civil and religious liberty, the freedom of worship that we enjoy in the United States, the civil liberty, meaning that protection and security of life, liberty, and property. He sees these things as, again, rare and precious, and as he sees it, this government, this system of political institutions conduces more to those things than any of which the history of former times tells us. So he sees the United States as something new and good in the world. And letter D, just this famous passage from Patrick Henry, just talking about liberty as something that's worth dying for. And again, I wonder if Americans these days would consider it worth dying for. I wonder if Americans, I don't want to sound bad about this, but just I wonder to what extent Americans understand what liberty is. That's why I put such an emphasis on in the first half of this class studying what liberty is. When I have students come into class, it seems like they only associate the word liberty with just being able to do whatever I want without interference, and are not appreciating all these other parts of liberty. And that's one of my hopes in this class is for students to have a very well-rounded and complete understanding of what liberty is.